This week's Parashat is Parashat Vayehi. And Rabbi Yoshiyahu, Pinto, the great rabbi from Damascus from the 1600s, in a sefer called Serora Kesef. It sat in manuscript form for hundreds of years until the museum had a tremendous zechut to publish it for the first time. He tells us an important idea. Tachlit Shelemut. The goal of perfection of the Jewish nation depends on the Ahdut, on their ability to become one. We know we're supposed to emulate our Creator. And we know Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one. Just like Hashem is one, we must emulate Hashem to become one. And that's why Hashem chose the Jewish nation. It's Goy Echad Ba'aretz. It's a one united nation. And we know there's many Pesukim that compare the Jewish nation to Seh, like a sheep, and the Midrash tells us why a sheep. The uniqueness of a sheep is that when one limb of the sheep hurts, the entire body hurts. And that's the Jewish nation. When one person's hurting, we all are one. Like we find by Yaakov in Parashat Shemot, the Pasuk tells us, Shivim Nefesh, 70, and singular, one Nefesh came down to Egypt. Why doesn't it say Shivim Nefashot, 70 Nefashot? Why does it say Nefesh? Because that's the uniqueness of the Jewish people. That's the strength, that's the power. When we have Ahdut, when we're considered one, that's the Jewish nation. And he tells us an unbelievable message. That was the message of Yaakov at the end of his life. Yaakov brings his children together, like the Pasuk tells us. Vayikra Yaakov el banav, Yaakov calls his sons, Vayomer, and he tells them, He'asfu ve'agidu lachem, gather together and I'll tell you. Et asher yikra etchem ba'acharit hayamim. I want to tell you what's going to happen to you at the end of the days. And we know Hazal tell us that Yaakov wanted to megaleh taketz. He wanted to tell them when Mashiach is coming, what's going to happen. And it was taken away from him, the ability. But he hinted to them this most important message. You know what's going to happen? There's going to be a time of galut. The Jewish nation is going to be spread. But what is going to be at the end of the days? Hasfu. Get together. Gather yourself together. That's the message of Acharit Hayamim. Although we find he didn't say anything, he didn't give over the message. Midrash tells us he taught them what it means, mahloket. How terrible, how much of a poison it is to be in mahloket. Therefore, he asfu, gathered together. And that's the message, Ba'acharit Hayamim, that Yaakov wanted to give over to his sons at the end of the days. You know what the Tachlit Shelemut, the complete perfection of the Jewish nation. When is that Mashiach going to come? When is the Galut going to end? When we hasfu, when we gather together. That's the strength of Ahdut, of the Jewish nation. Bezat Hashem, like we mentioned many times in this week's Parashah, Yaakov sends this message to his children as well, very strong. He'asfu, gathered together, we're one. Goy Echad Ba'aretz. We must emulate our Creator. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Our nation must be Ba'ahdut. Bezat Hashem, we should have a beautiful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.